like I don't know, like I just like, and Dom got like so like.
I know.
Like, it makes me, like, I could, like, throw up right now. Like, I could puke right
Well,
now.
that's because, I know, same. I'm so sorry you had to hear all that, baby. I'm so sorry that I couldn't sit by you through those moments.
That's disgusting. Like, I could
I'm so sorry.
vomit.
I know.
The jail calls between Mackenzie Shirilla and her mother continue to reveal more about how they view everything that has happened, and one topic keeps coming up again and again. According to their conversations, there is supposedly a large group of supporters standing behind Mackenzie, especially in Strongsville. The idea of this loyal support system becomes a recurring theme, with both of them returning to it multiple times throughout their discussions. But that's where many listeners start noticing a contradiction. While there are repeated references to this strong base of support, there are also plenty of conversations about feeling uncomfortable in public and dealing with negative reactions from people in the community.
Hello?
Hey.
Liz messaged me.
Yay! See, there you go. You're going to keep getting people. It might take a while, for setup to happen and stuff. I'm telling everybody. So you have a huge army out here, baby. Okay, so keep the faith. And also, Liz also likes to write novels.
I know. I know, she sent me one. She said she went through some stuff, too, and it hits her from home.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she said it, like, hits her right in the heart. She knows, so...
I didn't know that.
Natalie frequently talks about not wanting to go certain places, avoiding situations around town, and feeling uneasy when out in public. For many people listening, those comments seem difficult to reconcile with the idea of overwhelming local support. That contrast has become a major talking point among viewers following these recordings. On one hand, there are discussions about loyal supporters who supposedly understand and stand by Mackenzie. On the other hand, there are repeated stories about uncomfortable public encounters, criticism, and feeling judged by people around them. As a result, many listeners have started questioning just how much support actually exists versus how much opposition remains in the community. As the call continues, the conversation gradually shifts toward the crash itself, and that's when the tone becomes much heavier. Once the subject comes up, emotions immediately start rising, and listeners can hear the frustration building. What follows has become one of the more controversial portions of the call because of the way certain details are discussed. At one point, Mackenzie begins talking about graphic descriptions and evidence that were brought up during the trial. Rather than focusing on why those details were presented, much of the frustration seems directed at the fact that they were discussed in front of her at all. That reaction quickly caught the attention of many people listening to the recording. For critics, this became another example of what they see as a disconnect between the focus of the conversation and the seriousness of the events being discussed. Others argue that hearing difficult details in court would be upsetting for anyone. Either way, the exchange sparked plenty of debate among those following the case. Meanwhile, Natalie remains a constant presence throughout the discussion, offering reassurance and support as the conversation unfolds. Together, they continue revisiting the same frustrations and grievances, creating a back and forth that many listeners have described as revealing.
That's crazy.
Oh, I didn't even check my video calls yet.
What? Oh, yeah. Well, can you see?
You have to check.
Okay. Remember, I'm always in the night. I'm always going to have at least 2. Monday, I think I have you all night because Monday's going to suck.
Why? What day is it? Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think, like, I don't even know. Like, I just have, like, no, like, you can't even, like, hurt me no more. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, I'm just, like, been hurt, like, 85 times in a row where, like, it just,
I know.
Like, it doesn't even hurt. Like, it really doesn't. Like, it's just like, wow, like, that's
like
how it is. It's just like, it's like I'm a punching bag.
Exactly. Like, you stab me 100 times. By the 100th stab, I'm kind of numb. Just watch. I mean, obviously, don't be fake. I know you're not going to be fake. But, we are national news, so it's going to be everywhere, which is ridiculous. So,
what do you mean?
I'm sure it's going to be announced all over the place.
Then they can put the appeal on the news, too. They better get the news on that, too.
You got that shit right, little mama. Yep.
And as the topic becomes more intense, the call starts moving into territory that has generated some of the strongest reactions from viewers so far. What gets said next only adds more fuel to an already heated discussion surrounding these recordings, and it's easy to see why so many people have been paying close attention to every new call that gets released. The conversation continues with Natalie reassuring Mackenzie that she has a massive amount of support behind her. According to her mother, there is a huge group of people rooting for her and standing by her side despite everything that has happened. It's a message that comes up repeatedly throughout these calls, almost as if it's meant to remind Mackenzie that she isn't facing the situation alone. But many listeners have interpreted those interactions very differently. Instead of hearing evidence of a large, organized support movement, some people believe the calls sound more like old acquaintances, former classmates, distant friends, and community members occasionally reaching out with kind words or checking in on the family. In their view, those messages feel less like a growing movement and more like people acknowledging a tragedy that captured public attention. That's why this topic has generated so much debate among viewers. One side sees these conversations as proof that Mackenzie still has people in her corner. The other side argues that casual messages, brief check-ins, and expressions of sympathy shouldn't necessarily be confused with widespread public support. The difference between those two interpretations has become a recurring point of discussion online. Many listeners have compared it to hearing unexpected news about someone from your past. Years go by, life moves on, and then suddenly you learn that a former classmate or old acquaintance has become connected to a major headline. In situations like that, people often reach out to family members, share memories, or express sympathy. That doesn't always mean they're actively supporting the person involved. It may simply mean they're reacting to shocking news. As the call progresses, another theme starts surfacing: the feeling of constantly being criticized or judged. Mackenzie talks about feeling like a target and being on the receiving end of negativity. It's a sentiment that appears multiple times throughout these recordings, and it's something both she and her mother frequently discuss. However, many people listening to these calls have argued that what Mackenzie describes as unfair attacks may simply be criticism from people who strongly disagree with her perspective on the case. For those listeners, the issue isn't necessarily that people are looking for someone to blame. It's that the case itself became one of the most heavily discussed stories in the country, leading to intense public reactions from all sides. The conversation also touches on emotions following the crash and the events that followed. Some listeners believe Mackenzie experienced genuine sadness over what happened, particularly in the early stages. Others feel that much of the focus eventually shifted toward her own legal situation, public image, and future. That difference in interpretation remains one of the biggest points of disagreement among people who follow the case closely. Throughout the call, there are several moments where listeners pick apart not just what is being said, but how it's being said. Tone, wording, pauses, and reactions all become subjects of analysis. That's one of the reasons these recordings continue attracting so much attention years later. People aren't just listening to the conversations themselves, they're trying to understand the mindset behind them.
I said, "Oh, Liz, I love you so much. I'm just shocked. They think I would hurt them, beyond shocked. But I'm glad you reached out. Set up a video call with me. I would love one. And send your number. I want to hear your story. I wish I got to work for you guys one time at least."
Yeah. Yep, you would have been a rock star employee. For sure. I told Grandpa about how you're flossing with like strings from your socks and stuff. And he goes, "Wow, that's a survivor right there. That's a survivor." I'm like, I know she's going to be okay. She's going to be okay no matter where she goes.
Toward the end of this section, the topic shifts toward appeals and future legal developments. There seems to be hope that upcoming proceedings will reignite public attention and generate major headlines. But many observers aren't so sure. Some believe any future developments will receive coverage, while others think it may never approach the level of attention the original trial received. And that's another recurring theme throughout these calls: expectations versus reality. Whether it's discussions about public support, media attention, or future outcomes, listeners keep finding themselves comparing what is being said in the conversation with how the situation is being viewed by the broader public. That contrast continues to fuel debate every time a new recording surfaces. As the conversation continues, another theme starts becoming impossible to ignore: the importance of public perception. At several points, there seems to be a strong focus on how events are covered, how they're discussed, and how they're viewed by the outside world. For many listeners, that stands out because the discussion often sounds just as concerned with public attention as it does with the legal process itself. One topic that comes up is the possibility of future appeals and whether those developments might receive media coverage. The idea quickly sparks reactions, because some people following the case feel there is a noticeable desire for certain events to receive the same level of attention as the original trial. Whether that's a fair interpretation or not, it's something that many listeners have pointed out while analyzing these calls. This has also led some observers to notice what they believe is a larger pattern within the family. Throughout various public appearances, interviews, and recordings, critics argue there seems to be an ongoing effort to influence how the story is viewed. Others disagree and say any family facing intense public scrutiny would naturally care about how they are portrayed. Either way, the topic continues generating debate every time new recordings emerge. Then the conversation takes a completely different turn and moves into the realities of daily life behind bars. Small details about everyday routines begin surfacing, and those moments often catch listeners off guard because they paint a picture of circumstances that are very different from life on the outside. Sometimes it's these seemingly minor details that end up generating some of the biggest reactions online. Many viewers have noticed that discussions about jail life often reveal frustrations, inconveniences, and adjustments that come with the environment. While those moments may not be central to the case itself, they provide additional context about what daily life looks like during this chapter of the story. That's one reason people continue listening so closely to every new call that becomes available. As the recording moves forward, attention shifts toward family communication and the relationships between different family members.
I'm so weirded out by Stephen, though. Oh, I didn't answer. Oh my God, Dad! This is not even the first time Dad sent that message to me. I just realized I missed a message from Dad. He sent it twice.
Just ignore it.
Dad said, "If it looks like a pig, smell like a pig, and walk like a pig, then it's a pig. I love you."
What the heck?
Listeners begin noticing references to information being shared selectively, certain conversations being directed through specific people, and questions about who knows what within the family. These details may seem small at first, but they quickly become a major topic of discussion among those following the case. One moment that particularly caught attention involves a message from Steve Shirilla. The exchange includes a phrase that leaves listeners wondering whether there's a deeper meaning behind it or if it was simply an unusual way of expressing affection. Because the wording feels somewhat cryptic, many people have spent time speculating about what exactly was meant by the message. What happens next only adds more intrigue. Rather than directly answering certain questions, the conversation appears to suggest that some matters should be handled through Natalie instead.
He really wants to know the answer to that question, and I'm sure you already know the answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
So why is he asking?
Confirmation. Or the other. Just don't, just say, talk to Mom. Love you. Or you can even say, I can't talk about anything.
Yeah, Jacob needs to message me. And I keep thinking about, why the fuck did I say Jacob in the car accident? Like, why did I say that? Like, that's like weird as fuck.
Your brain was like, I don't know.
That immediately sparked discussion among listeners because it raised questions about how communication within the family operates and who tends to take the lead in important conversations. Over the years, countless theories have developed around the family dynamics involved in this case. Some people believe certain family members hold more influence than others, while others think outsiders are reading far too much into ordinary interactions. These jail calls have only intensified those debates because they provide real conversations that people can analyze, replay, and scrutinize in detail. By the end of this section, the biggest takeaway for many listeners isn't any single statement. It's the ongoing pattern they believe they're hearing. Discussions about public image, media attention, private family communication, and decision-making continue surfacing again and again. Every new call seems to add another layer to the story, which is exactly why so many people remain fascinated by these recordings years after the case first made headlines. The conversation then turns toward Mackenzie's father, and listeners immediately pick up on the fact that this isn't the first time certain messages or concerns have come up within the family. As the discussion unfolds, it becomes clear that there are ongoing dynamics between family members that continue to surface throughout these calls. For many people following the recordings, those interactions have become just as interesting as the legal discussions themselves. One of the biggest debates surrounding these calls involves the role each parent may have played in shaping Mackenzie's outlook and behavior over the years. Critics of the family often point to Natalie in particular, arguing that her influence can be heard throughout many of these conversations. Others disagree and believe it's impossible to place responsibility for someone's actions on a parent based solely on recorded phone calls. Still, the topic remains one of the most heavily discussed aspects of the case.
Like, the police are asking about Dom, like, lie or something. Like, I don't understand. Like,
I don't know.
Like, did my brain try to hide, like, protect Dom? Or, like, I don't understand why I said that.
I don't know either. I'm going to go sit at my desk.
As listeners analyze these exchanges, they frequently point out moments where Natalie appears highly involved in guiding conversations, offering reassurance, or reinforcing certain viewpoints. Because of that, many people have started paying close attention not just to what Mackenzie says, but also to how her mother responds. The back and forth between them has become a major source of discussion online. Then the focus shifts away from family dynamics and back toward details connected to the crash itself. At this point, a particular clip enters the conversation involving law enforcement officers discussing information they were gathering at the scene. For viewers following along, this moment stands out because it introduces another detail that some listeners had either forgotten about or never fully understood in the first place. One topic that draws attention involves the name Jacob being mentioned during the aftermath of the crash.
Did you get anything from her on the other victim?
Only his first name is Jacob, that's all I got.
The other, the person, the other male in the car, all we know is his name is Jacob at this point. He looks like a black male, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
At first, some people were confused about what exactly was being referenced and how it connected to the individuals involved. As discussions around the clip continued, listeners began trying to piece together why the name surfaced and what significance it may have had in that moment. The confusion surrounding that detail led to plenty of speculation online. Some viewers initially assumed one thing, only to realize later that the context appeared to be completely different. That's been a recurring pattern throughout this case. Small details emerge, people rush to interpret them, and then additional information changes how those details are understood.
Okay, then I'll start getting. Who knows, Kenzie? Your whole brain got knocked around a little bit. I'm sure you were not completely together. You know what I'm saying?
Like, how did I, like, not die? I just, like, still don't understand that.
Ooh.
Like I just don't understand. Like,
Meanwhile, longtime followers of these recordings have also become familiar with some of Natalie's habits and mannerisms during conversations. Certain reactions, sounds, and responses show up repeatedly across different calls, to the point where regular listeners can recognize them almost immediately. It's one of those small details that has become part of the broader discussion surrounding these recordings.
and then, like, I keep, like, having, like, weird dreams, but, like, not dreams, but, like, thoughts. Like, I'll be trying to sleep, and then I'll just, like, think about, like, them describing Dom.
Oh my God, I have to write that down, and I can't see anything on the phone, but just give me another,
idea.
Another point that catches attention is Natalie's apparent effort to keep track of information as new developments unfold. Throughout the years, listeners have noticed repeated references to documents, notes, legal filings, and ongoing efforts connected to appeals and court proceedings. Whether those efforts will ultimately have an impact remains to be seen, but it's clear that the family continues paying close attention to every development related to the case. By the end of this section, several different storylines are unfolding at once. Family dynamics, questions about past events, details from the crash investigation, and ongoing legal efforts all seem to be intersecting. That's part of what keeps these recordings so compelling to many listeners. Each call doesn't just revisit old topics, it introduces new questions that keep the conversation going long after the recording ends.
you know,
Yeah, it's, like, really, like, they, like, described it to, it, like, it's, like, disgusting me. Like, I'm so through, like, why do they have to, like, go into detail with me in the room? Like, I don't know, like, it's just, I just, like, and Dom got, like, so, like,
I know.
like, it makes me, like, I could, like, throw up right now. Like, I could puke right
Well,
now.
that's because, I know, Sam. I'm so sorry you had to hear all that, baby. I'm so sorry that I couldn't sit by you through those moments.
That's
you know?
disgusting. Like, I could
I'm so sorry.
vomit.
I know.
The conversation then moves into a topic that immediately catches attention: recurring dreams and memories connected to Dom. During the call, Mackenzie talks about having dreams involving his injuries, and the way the discussion unfolds leaves many listeners with mixed reactions. Rather than focusing entirely on the tragedy itself, the conversation seems to center on how upsetting it is for her to hear or think about those details. That distinction has become a major point of debate among people following these recordings. Some listeners hear someone describing traumatic memories that continue to linger. Others feel the focus is placed more on the discomfort of being reminded about the events rather than on the events themselves.
Well, it didn't help that somebody was on his lap with all that extra weight either. You know what I mean? Whew.
As with so many parts of these calls, different people walk away with very different interpretations. What especially stands out is the frustration directed toward the trial proceedings. At one point, the discussion suggests that hearing graphic details in court felt unnecessary or unfair. That reaction immediately sparked conversation online because many people pointed out that difficult evidence is often presented during major criminal trials. For critics, the comment sounded like frustration over having to confront painful facts. Others argued that anyone in that situation would struggle emotionally when hearing those details discussed publicly. Meanwhile, Natalie continues playing a familiar role throughout the exchange. As listeners have noted in previous calls, she often responds with agreement, encouragement, or reassurance. That's something longtime followers of these recordings have picked up on repeatedly. Whether people see that as supportive parenting or something else entirely depends on who you ask, but it remains one of the most talked about aspects of their conversations.
Can't talk about that. Wow, what did you want me to say to Nina? Wait a minute.
Happy birthday, Leo Queen.
That's what it was.
So I had a really weird dream for him.
What?
I had these this red rash all over my body in the dream.
Okay.
And it was I don't know what happened. Yeah, I answered all my messages, and I'm not answering Steven no more. Cause hell no.
Nope.
He scares me.
The discussion then takes another unexpected turn when theories surrounding the crash start resurfacing. Certain explanations and possibilities get mentioned, including ideas that many listeners say they hadn't heard before. As a result, people online began debating where some of these theories originated and whether they hold any weight.
Yeah. We got a lot on. I don't have to click in yet, though. We got time because it takes about 10 minutes to set up. So.
Every time a new explanation enters the conversation, it tends to spark another round of speculation. Then the focus shifts once again, this time back to the men who have been contacting Mackenzie. If you've been following these calls from the beginning, you'll probably notice a familiar pattern. Just when one topic seems finished, the conversation somehow circles back to relationships, potential romantic interests, and people reaching out from the outside world. What's particularly interesting here is how quickly opinions appear to change. Earlier discussions seemed much more open to certain people making contact, with questions about who they were and whether they might be worth getting to know. But now some of those same individuals are suddenly being viewed with much more skepticism. That shift didn't go unnoticed by listeners. By the end of this section, the call once again jumps between multiple topics, dreams, trial memories, family reactions, crash theories, and new people entering the picture. It's that constant switching between serious subjects and personal conversations that continues to keep viewers talking. Every new recording seems to reveal another layer of the story, and many listeners are paying attention to every detail along the way. The conversation then circles back to one of the recurring topics in these calls, the people who have been reaching out to Mackenzie from the outside. What's interesting is how quickly opinions seem to shift. In earlier discussions, there appeared to be curiosity about certain individuals and whether they might be worth getting to know. Now, however, some of those same people are being viewed with a lot more caution. That sudden change has definitely caught the attention of listeners. But before long, the focus moves away from relationships and onto something much more unexpected. Clothing.
Yeah, Miss Elisa's texting me too.
Oh, good. I got to sign in real quick. Wait, I just got to log into work. She texted you back already?
I'm texting Miss Lisa.
Oh, okay.
Can you find a core outfit for me?
I'm just afraid to bring. I don't want that. I think the best thing to wear would be that gray thing.
What?
Okay. The gray V-neck thing I was going to bring before, because if it gets lost, who cares? And it'll look very nice.
Is it mine?
Yeah.
But what is it? What brand is it? If it's something Dom got me, I don't want to wear that.
Oh, no. It's not anything special. I would never bring anything special like that.
How do you know?
Because it's like an off-brand, Kenzie. I promise.
What brand is it?
Morona or something?
What starts as a simple discussion about what Mackenzie should wear quickly turns into a surprisingly detailed back and forth. And judging by the reactions online, many people were stunned by just how much attention was being given to brands, specific shirts, and outfit choices during such a serious chapter of the story. One particular shirt becomes a topic of discussion, and listeners immediately begin trying to figure out why it matters so much. Some believe it was simply a personal preference. Others started speculating that there might have been a deeper reason behind wanting to wear a specific outfit. Of course, nobody knows for certain, but the debate quickly took off among people analyzing the call. The discussion becomes even more surprising when clothing brands start entering the conversation.
If it's off-brand or not, what if it's something I like a lot and I don't?
Well, that's what I mean. So then,
I'm not wearing that pink shirt, Mom. It smells bad as fuck.
I know.
I'm not wearing that pink shirt.
I'm just going to bring this gray tunic because if it gets lost, it's easily replaceable. You know what I mean?
Well, it doesn't matter. What if it's something that Dom got me?
Rather than simply choosing an outfit and moving on, there are questions about labels, preferences, and whether certain items are acceptable. Many listeners couldn't help but notice how unusual the exchange felt given everything else surrounding the case. It's one of those moments where the contrast between the circumstances and the conversation becomes impossible to ignore. As the back and forth continues, some viewers have interpreted the exchange as another example of disagreements over control, presentation, and image. Throughout these calls, there have been several moments where personal appearance and public perception seem to carry significant importance. This conversation only adds to that impression for many listeners. Then, another unexpected detail emerges when the possibility of wearing something connected to Dom gets mentioned. That comment immediately grabs attention because it introduces an emotional element into what had previously been a fairly ordinary discussion about clothing. Once again, listeners are left trying to figure out what the remark reveals about the mindset behind the conversation. As the call moves forward, many people start focusing less on the clothing itself and more on the broader themes underneath it. Questions about priorities, reactions, accountability, and personal perspective begin resurfacing. For some listeners, the clothing discussion feels symbolic of a larger pattern they believe appears throughout many of these recordings. And that's ultimately what stands out most in this section of the call. Beyond the arguments about outfits, brands, or preferences, many listeners walk away feeling that there is a noticeable frustration about being forced to confront the consequences and realities connected to the case. Some interpret the comments as signs of emotional distress, while others see them as evidence of resentment toward the legal process and the difficult facts that were presented during trial. Either way, this portion of the recording gives people plenty to discuss. What begins as a conversation about clothing ends up revealing much bigger questions about perspective, responsibility, and how Mackenzie views everything that has happened. That's why even the smallest exchanges in these calls continue generating debate long after the conversations end. As the conversation comes to a close, one final topic stands out above everything else: the nightmares and memories that continue surfacing after the events of the case.
He didn't. I promise. Okay? And I have to believe that they kind of know what they're doing with this. So.
Yeah, I answered all my messages.
Good.
Yeah, Steven was throwing me off, though. That's so weird.
That is super weird.
Oh.
I'm glad you
my
have
video
these
calls.
people contacting
Oh my
you.
god.
What?
What the fuck?
Oh.
3 o'clock,
Oh.
7:38.
Who's the 3 o'clock?
I don't know, but are you 7:30 to 8?
I always have 2 in the night.
You have 3.
Oh. You have
Oh, it's 7 o'clock, 7:38.
I don't know. You can call me back one more time if you want. Do it now.
Alright, bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Throughout the call, there seems to be a belief that hearing graphic details during the trial played a major role in bringing those images back to the forefront. That's a point that immediately sparked discussion among listeners. Many people following the case have argued that difficult memories and emotional reactions can arise from the events themselves, regardless of whether those details are later discussed in court. Trials often involve reviewing evidence, testimony, and painful facts, especially in serious cases. Because of that, some listeners were surprised by how much frustration appeared to be directed toward the prosecution simply for presenting information that was already central to the case. For critics, this became another example of what they see as a recurring theme throughout these calls, focusing on the discomfort of hearing certain facts rather than on why those facts became part of the legal process in the first place. Others believe the emotional reaction is understandable given the circumstances. Either way, it's a topic that continues generating strong opinions from both sides. And with that, this call comes to an end. These recordings continue giving listeners plenty to analyze, debate, and discuss, and every new conversation seems to raise another set of questions about perspective, priorities, and accountability. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video so you don't miss future uploads. And most importantly, leave a comment below and let everyone know what you think about this call and the topics discussed throughout it. Your thoughts could spark the next big discussion. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.